and to subjugate the non-Jewish or Gentile society all over the world. Those who were against this, they presented their arguments. I can't repeat all of it, but I will give you a brief account of arguments on both sides, from that interview as well as my own reading elsewhere. The connection with Zionism begins with before the turn of the century. Around the end of the 19th century, in Germany, there was, I think, yes, it was in Germany perhaps, there was a Russian lady who was employed as a secretary to some closely knit and a highly confidential Jewish society. And they used to meet together, and she used to type a secretary some of the minutes, but not all the minutes. Some were kept secret from her. According to the story as it goes, she also happened to be the paramour of one of the members of the society. So she spent the nights with him in privacy. Once he was suddenly called in the middle of night to go elsewhere, and she was alone, and just to while over the time she looked here and there, and in the drawers she found a document which caught his eyes. It was entitled The Protocol of the Elders of Zion. So she started reading it, and she was amazed at what was written there. She found that it was a plan to subjugate the whole world for the sake of King David's government, world government. And that document she stole and ran away to Russia, and for the first time it was published in the early next century, in this century I mean. It was translated into English for the first time in 1905 and brought to and introduced to England. This document is worthy of reading anyway, because it generated so many debates and controversies and legal suits, etc. And both parties were very strong and adamant that some said it's fake, some said it's genuine. The best comments I read was by a British politician. He said, I don't know whether it was fake or genuine, but what is said, written in that document, is so prophetic about things to occur of which no man at that time could dream, like the Charter of United Nations, like the Plan of Leagues of Nations, like the World Health Organization, the Children Organization, and this and that. And mafia-like control of sources of pleasure, and to introduce new pleasures and make the world mad in pursuit of vain pleasures, so that they have no time, no interest left in other serious things of the world. As long as they get mad pop music and they're kept happy under this addiction, it's okay for them. Things like that have been mentioned. I have read it. So the comments of that British politician, he was a member of parliament, were, I think it was, he also served as a minister, prime minister for some time in England. If I remember the name rightly, it was Disraeli who said that. But I'm not very good at your history, so subject to my mistake. But what I'm telling you is correct. This gentleman, whoever is mentioned, held the post of Prime Minister of England for a while. He said, I do not know whether it was fake or it was genuine, but I know this much, that if it was fake, it must have been faked by a prophet of God, because all that is said there has been fulfilled. Everything is realized exactly as it was predicted. This was the most powerful argument I ever read in favor of this allegation that all was not right about it, there had to be some conspiracy, some plan, which was unfolded gradually, and we are now witnessing the full unfolded state of that plan, which you read in the protocol of the Zions of Elders. So unfortunately, it comes and disappears suddenly. One of the British priests who investigated it on his own, he followed the whole history of these protocols and Zions of Elder at every stage and traced it back to the time of Marx and a few years earlier than that. And he said the design of communism, as we find mentioned in that protocol as well, was prepared much earlier. So that is why those who said it had to be a fake, because we find this something mentioned like this in 1870 or 1880, prior to this incident, he proved that it had to be mentioned before because it was a planned, well-charted scheme to subjugate the whole world, and it was related with the idea of communism. So that is one side of the story. On the others, they say the Freemasonry was not our making. Now, those who said that it has been at least taken over by you, said because in that very document, Freemasonry is mentioned as the lowest rung of our organization, which will be visible to public, and what lies behind will be in 30 tiers. Ultimately, the ultimate control would be in the hands of 3 elders at the top, whom nobody else knows. And Freemasons themselves do not know where is the higher tier, where they receive their orders from. So the secrecy of Freemasonry, why should it be kept secret, is a large question. If it is just for the sake of goodness of people, the human activists or people related to the cause of the humans, of human suffering, etc., everywhere in the world, they don't hide things. Those who work for the child welfare, those who work for the African countries' welfare, etc., they're always open in public. Why are they hiding? The only personal contact I had with one ex-Freemason was in Holland, about 3-4 years ago. And he was sitting next to me at a dinner which was thrown for the occasion of my visit there, and intellectuals and others were invited to join me and ask any questions. The person sitting next to me happened to be an ex-Freemason. And when he heard my views, somehow he was excited to the degree that he shared that secret for the first time, he told me, because he was afraid for his life. He said, I can't tell you everything, it's impossible. Even you, I know I can trust you. But winds carry things. So I won't tell you what I witnessed, what I saw. But I was committed to an ultimate utter secrecy. And those before me who ever attempted to violate this promise have disappeared. Something happened to them. In the debate on this television, one thing was very solid presented by those who decried the Society of Freemasons was that most of our politicians who are given tickets from the party, who are ultimately elected, are somehow indebted to Freemasonry. If they are on the wrong side of Freemasonry, they are never permitted to reach the goal of political leadership. Somehow they are destroyed during the steps of the rise to the political power. And those people, I don't remember the detail, but they quoted example after example publicly. Tell you, Mr. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so. They fell foul of Freemasons and they were finished. Those who were on the right side, they were promoted.